Happy Valentine's Day everyone, even if you celebrate, even if you don't. I believe that Valentine's is all about love, so even if you don't have a partner, or even if you do, what matters is that you believe and you celebrate in love, and in this case, love for horror films, movies in general, but especially horror films that celebrate this date. So what I'm gonna be doing today, as you read by the title, I'm gonna be ranking the top 4 horror slashers. All of them are slashers actually, that takes place during Valentine's. Now, all of them films are popular, one of them is brand new. So I thought about what could be the best way for me to celebrate this day over my channel, and I said, why not just talking about the main horror films that take place on Valentine's. This could be the best chance for me to talk about them, how I feel about them, and just rank them overall and say what's for me the best Valentine's theme horror movie. If that sounds good for you, stay tuned for this ranking. I'm gonna be very straightforward. All of these films are popular, so you know these films, I know these films, so let's just get done with this ranking. So obviously, as you saw by the thumbnail, the 4 films that I'm gonna be ranking are My Bloody Valentine from 1981, its remake, My Bloody Valentine 3D from 2009, Valentine from 2001, and the latest brand new film, Hard Eyes from 2025. Just before we start, I just want to say that honestly, all of these films are good. Like, just because the film is in the last place, it doesn't mean that it's a bad film. I honestly found all of these films very, entertaining. All of them have entertaining values, but obviously I find myself more entertained with some of them more than with others. So if your ranking is different, let me know in the comment section below. I love that it's just 4 films, so we can get to talk more about them, and even the rankings can change more with time. But without further ado, out of these 4 films, my least favorite, let's say, but it's not that it's a bad film, that will be Hard Eyes from 2025. Now, briefly talking, I did a whole review for this film. That was my latest video. If you want to hear my full thoughts on Hard Eyes, I would recommend watching my review. But overall, this movie comes on the last place just because obviously it's brand new. I've seen this movie the one time only, and obviously I need to grow more with this movie. I do appreciate that it came out because it's been a while since we had a horror film taking place during Valentine's, and I do appreciate that this movie is being loved by some people in the community because I do understand why. I do feel like this movie knows how to treat love in horror. I do think this movie knows how to combine romance and horror. I did love the killer's design. I did love the kills, the way the killer kills, let's say. Overall, the vibes were there. I just wish that Valentine's, because this movie takes place on the 14th of February, was more involved. I wish the theme of Valentine was more part of the film, because this movie, it felt sometimes that it was not taking place on Valentine's. You didn't see decorations, I didn't see more couples or romantic stuff, cheesy romantic stuff that happens during these holidays. I wish Hard Eyes gave us that, but nonetheless, I do see myself rewatching this. I do see myself owning this, and I just can't wait to see how people will feel about this movie 10 years, in 20 years. We just gotta wait and see. Coming in number 3, that will be My Bloody Valentine, the remake from 2009. Get your heart broken. 10 years after a Valentine's Day tragedy claimed the lives of 5 minors, Harry Warden returns for a vengeful massacre among teen sweethearts gearing up for another party. Now, I just have to say that I grew up with this film, so this movie has a special place in my heart, because obviously when this movie came out, I was just getting into horror. I was just 9 or 10 years old. So this is one of the very first massacre slashers that I saw growing up. So this movie, for nostalgic value, I appreciate this movie for what it is, and also I do think this movie works as a remake because it's not as close to the original. We will talk about the original in a second, but with My Bloody Valentine, the remake, I just liked the vibes, this movie knows that it's cheesy, this movie knows that it's bad, but this movie has so much fun with itself, and every time that I rewatch this, I honestly see myself laughing, I see myself just being entertained, just having a good vibes, especially for today. So if you don't really know what to watch today on Valentine's by yourself or with your partner, with family, friends, I would really recommend watching this movie because it's just so much fun. I think this movie has very good slasher sequences. For example, there is one sequence that takes place on a market, on a petrol station, I don't remember. That sequence is so, honestly, not terrifying, but very intriguing or very slashering, if that makes sense. I love when slashers improvise like their locations to have like a good chase scene, a good kill, a good presence of the killer, and I think My Bloody Valentine, the remake, has a lot of those. Of course, the CGI and the blood is what takes me out of it, and that's why this movie is coming down to place number 3. But obviously, I really like this film. Like I said before, none of these films are bad. This just comes to like entertaining value or how much I love these movies. And another thing that I want to say about this movie, honestly, is just obviously I love the killer's design, but obviously they are inspired by the original. But I feel like the costumes here, they looked very good, and also even though the kills involved too much CGI, like computer, I did appreciate like the kills in this movie. I think they were very creative and again entertaining, but it's just coming down, and it's not like on my top 2 just because of the CGI and just because it's more cheesy, and I love this movie more because it's entertaining rather than its storyline and its script. Coming at number 2, and obviously you will know my number 1, so stay tuned with me. But now coming at number 2, that will be the original My Bloody Valentine from 1981. There is more than one way to lose your heart. 20 years after Valentine's Day tragedy claimed the lives of 5 minors, Harry Warden returns for a vengeful massacre among teen sweethearts gearing up for another party. Obviously the synopsis is the same as the remake, but trust me, they are different films. But with this movie, I just have to say that I watched this movie for the first time ever, literally a few days ago, and I feel shameful. I know I should have watched this movie ages ago. I don't know I don't know why it took me so long to watch this movie, but nonetheless, I really like this film. I think the characters, they were all so charismatic. The guys, the girls, they had so much charisma that I really appreciate. I did love the locations in this movie. I think that's the best thing this movie has going for, especially at the mines. Like that last, I think it was the last 20 to 30 minutes or 25 minutes. I am obsessed with that location. I love that it takes place like in the mines, like down, like in that huge area, like down to earth, if that makes sense. That made me feel very claustrophobic. Obviously, I love the kills and the practical effects. They were insane. Like I just appreciate how unique and how original this movie is, especially for the time that it came out, because we are talking about 1981, like, you know, that era where Friday the 13th was starting, Halloween was starting, you know, Black Christmas was still like pretty young, and so people were like wanting to see more about those films. But this movie came out and say, look at me, I'm original, like here I am, and I really appreciate it. But I do have to say another thing with this movie is that I really liked just the killer design. I think that was very creepy, to be honest, especially because we have too many like POVs from the mask, so we can hear the breaths and all of that, and that was very intriguing and creepy, and I think that helped the atmosphere of this film. I really like the kills. They were very creative, especially because they involve too like the makeup and they look too real, and I love that this movie has a lot of kills, that this movie is slashing, and that's something that Hard Eyes didn't do, to be honest. But with My Bloody Valentine, the original, I just loved how I felt while watching this movie. Overall, I just liked the characters. I liked the villain. I liked the reveal. I loved the location. I loved the kills, the practical effects, and then the storyline overall. Like, I love that Valentine's was a huge theme in this movie, like because of the parade, the decorations, and just the storyline when it comes to like this town being afraid of this killer. Coming at number 1, you already know the answer. That would be Valentine from 2001. Remember that kid everyone ignored on Valentine's Day? He remembers you. 4 friends start to receive morbid Valentine cards and realize they are being stalked by someone they had attacked 13 years ago. A masked killer is on the loose on Valentine's Day. It is soon approaching. Now, this movie is, one word, iconic. I love this movie, like, to the bottom of my heart. I think the cast is insane. The vibes are insane. Like, early 2000s slashers, they really hit. I love the storyline. I love the characters. I love the kills. Like, this movie has so many good scenes, so many good kills, and I just loved the vibes about like the group of girls that they like ignored, like they bullied someone when they're back in high school. For something that came out in the early 2000s, that was pretty original, and I just loved how the storyline was developing. I would love to own this on Blu-ray. I only had the DVD at the moment, but I just love Also, some locations in this movie, for example, the opening taking place in like this hospital or like in this medicine center. I really like that. I also like that the kills were graphic. I like the characters overall. I think they were like all of them have strong personalities. I love, for example, the scene that it's taking place in a jacuzzi or like a pool. I don't know how to call it. That was pretty cool, and I just like the way this movie works with Valentine as a theme. I think that was very fun, entertaining. I just love this movie. I think this movie works perfectly as a who has done a slasher. Honestly, that ending was very not. I mean, it was sad. Don't get me wrong. That ending was very sad, and I think that was fun to see how different this ending was gonna be. Because the first time that I watched this, I remember that I did not expect that to happen. So yeah, this movie, fun to watch with friends, with family. Like, if I talk more about this movie, obviously I will spend more time on this video, but just know that this is my favorite slasher that takes place in Valentine's. So that was it. I know this video was pretty straightforward, but that's what we're here for, to rank just for films. I just wanted to talk about Valentine's horror films that I haven't talked about in the past. So let me know in the comment section below, how do you feel about this top 4 slashers that takes place during Valentine's? Heart Eyes is brand new, so I really wonder if Heart Eyes might be number 1 or number 2 to some of you out there. But nonetheless, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Happy Valentine's Day, and we will talk so soon. Please take care of yourself, and bye bye.